I'm back again, but this time with some integrated science paper one. So same thing goes as we did for biology. Today we're doing the May June 2010, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. So question one: photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. This is where the chlorophyll is, which is necessary to trap the sunlight. Item 2 refers to the diagram below, which shows the movement of particles between two solutions. So the question, the process being illustrated in the diagram above is C, diffusion. If you couldn't figure out what exactly is going on in the diagram, the key hint here is the movement of particles. Knowing the definition for diffusion, it is the movement of particles or gases from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. 3. The structure responsible for the transfer of characteristics from parents to offspring is the C, the chromosomes. 4. Which of the following are necessary for photosynthesis to take place? The answer is D. We need light, we need chlorophyll, and we also need carbon dioxide. Oxygen is given off as a waste product. If this was water instead, then that would be correct. Excuse the background noise. You know, the creatures tend to make noise in the night. Um, Question 5. Which of the following shapes best describes molar teeth? The answer would be C, flat topped. It's not pointed, this would be our canines. It's not round, and it's also not chisel shaped. Chisel shaped is the incisors. So next we have item 6 to 7 refers to the diagram of the human digestive tract shown below. So four organs are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. So the organ labeled 4 is the D, the gallbladder. They're pointing to a circle behind the liver, right? So that is the gallbladder there, which stores the bile. 7, hydrochloric acid is produced in, the answer is 2, which is the stomach. 8, the component of blood which protects the body by engulfing bacteria is the D, the white blood cells. 9. Which of the following gases is produced during the process of respiration? The answer is D, carbon dioxide. 10. Which of the following statements concerning respiration is true? The answer is A, which states that aerobic respiration requires oxygen while anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. And that's correct. So 11, which of the following pollutant gases can combine with the hemoglobin in red blood cells? The answer is C, the carbon monoxide. And remember that binds with the hemoglobin and it doesn't leave like how the oxygen and the carbon dioxide does. 12. Which of the following blood groups has no antigen and, as a result, can be used in transfusion to any person? The answer is C, which is O. So, persons who have the blood type O, that is known as the universal blood group. They can give blood to anybody, but they can only receive blood from other persons who are also O blood type. 13, antibodies are important in the body because they protect against diseases. 14, which of the following is not excreted by the kidney? The answer is sweat. Now, with this question here, we know for sure sweat is through the skin. That has nothing to do with the kidneys. Urea, yes. Water, yes. Glucose, yes. The reason why glucose would be the answer here, if sweat was replaced with something else that is there, so let's say, for example, salts, then glucose, we could have, turned the eye there. But the thing with this, remember, with the kidneys at the nephron, yes, glucose is removed or filtered from the blood, right, through the glomerulus, and we have the Bowman's capsule, right? So what is taken out is the glucose, the urea, the salts, as well as the water. But remember, the glucose is reabsorbed at the proximal convoluted tubule, right? It's only in persons who, for example, if we're talking about disease wise, if they have diabetes, this is where we would find glucose in the person's urine. But when it comes to a healthy person, we are not supposed to find any glucose there because all of the glucose should have been reabsorbed at the proximal convoluted tubule. But we know for sure that sweat has nothing to do with the kidneys. This is with the skin. So the answer is asking, the question is asking again, which of the following is not excreted by the kidneys? So we'll choose sweat. 15. Which of the following processes are associated with excretion by the kidneys? So we have evaporation, filtration, reabsorption, and respiration. The answer is C, which is 2 and 3. We have filtration, which we know as ultrafiltration, and we also have selective reabsorption. 16. Which of the following gases is a waste product of photosynthesis? The answer is A. Items 17 to 18 refers to the following hormones. So, which of the above hormones, 17, regulates the blood glucose, the blood sugar in humans? The answer would be B, insulin. And 18, which of the above hormones is produced in emergency situations? That would be A, adrenaline. 19. Which of the following parts of the eye contains light sensitive cells? We know that would be at the retina where we have the rods and the cones. 20. The testes of the human male corresponds to the anthers of flowers because they both produce the male sex cells. So from the testes we have sperm, and from the anthers we get the pollen. 21. Which of the following methods of birth control is likely to be least effective at preventing pregnancies? That would be A, natural. 22. Hurricanes are characterized by C, the strong winds. 23. Solar energy is transferred through space by radiation. 24. Which of the following methods for treating waste usually involves the actions of bacteria? The answer would be decomposting. 25. Liquids and gases normally expand when heated and contract when cooled. So this behavior explains the functioning of a mercury thermometer. And 26, the dumping of old car batteries and corrosive chemicals on landfills and waterways is prohibited because D, the pollutants produce a negative effect on the environment. What are the other options we had? We had the hazardous waste products are biodegradable. That is not true. C, there's a need to reduce scavenging of waste materials by local residents. That has nothing to do with why it's prohibited. And D, there's a low risk to human and animal health by the contaminants produced. This is not true. So B is the answer. I hope so far so good and you're not confused with anything. Then we have item 27 refers to the diagrams below, which show an experiment to measure the water drainage of clay, loam, and sand. So 27, which of the following statements is most likely to be true? The answer would be C, that soil 3 is clay. So remember with the different types of soil and how they are linked or their linkage to water drainage. Remember with sandy soil, that doesn't retain water well. So we lose a lot of water in a specific amount of time compared to that of loam and clay soil. Loam soil is more in the middle, and the clay soil we will lose, or the least amount of water will be drained within that specific amount of time. So it's actually going in order of sandy soil, we have loam, and we have clay at the end. Item 28 refers to the following simple food chain. So we have plant to animal 1 to animal 2 to animal 3. 28, the herbivore in this food chain is animal 1 because animal 1 eats the plants. So we have it in the order. We have the autotroph or the producer, we have the primary consumer, which is usually or which is the herbivore. Then we have the secondary consumer, the carnivore, and then we have the tertiary consumer here, which will either be a top carnivore or if we're looking at like a food web, the top carnivore might actually be an omnivore instead because it eats both plants and animals, right? Um, 29. The force which acts on all bodies in water, causing them to appear to have less weight, is called the dioptrus. 30. Which of the following fishing methods is least efficient? That would be A, the hand lines. 31. Which of the following materials is best suited for making the handle of an electric kettle? The answer would be B. We want something that is going to be that is going to insulate, right? We don't want it to conduct the heat. um t- Sorry. 32. Which of the following is not a water safety device? The answer is D, the inflatable balloon. 33. The most effective method used in controlling pests is the D, the eradication of their breeding places. So, yes, we can use traps and use biological methods and also use physical methods there, but that means there's still pests, right? We're just controlling the pests coming into our space. But if we get rid of their breeding places, then that is the best way to control pests. 34. A food cupboard should always be kept well ventilated and cool rather than closed up and warm. And the best reason for this is that C. Most bacteria needs warm, moist places in which they reproduce. 35. The rusting of iron is an example of B. Oxidation. 36. Which protective wear is best suited for someone welding a broken iron gate? The answer is actually not B, the answer is C. That was an error, so ignore that. Item 37 refers to the following safety symbols 1, 2, and 3 found on 3 chemical bottles. So, which chemical or chemicals must be handled with extreme care? The answer is all of them. And 38, a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher works by C, excluding the oxygen which is necessary for a fire. 39. So the decayed organic matter in soil is called A, humus. 40. Plastic can be used in plugs because plastic, D, is a poor conductor of electricity. It is also a poor conductor of heat, but we're talking about plugs here. That has nothing to do with heat. We're talking about electricity there. So that's why the answer would be D. 41. Which of the following is an alloy? Alloy means that it's not pure, it's mixed. The answer would be C. Brass. 42. Which of the following forms a suspension in water? The answer would be B. Soil. 43. A substance X has a pH of 2. That means that X is C, an acid. If we were to draw, let's say, a very simple pH scale here, we know we have 7 in the middle, which is neutral. If we go to this side, we're talking about alkaline material. If we are on this side, then we're talking about acids. And 2 would be somewhere here. It's on the acidic side, so it's an acid. 44. Which solvent would be best suited to remove nail polish from your fingernails? This one is a given, and the answer is A. We use acetone to remove nail polish. 45. Which of the following machines should be used for taking a bucket of wet cement from ground level to the roof of a building? The answer would be D. We want to use a pulley. 46. The unit used to measure electric current is the D, the ampere, which is capital A. Then 47, white light is separated into its component colors by B, the glass prism. 48, a refrigerator has a rating of 0.45 kilowatts. The electricity used in kilowatt hours by this refrigerator for 1 day is equal to C, 0.45 multiplied by the 24 hours. 49. Which of the following would not contribute to the wear and tear of a machine? The answer is A. Oiling. Remember, we oil machines to get rid of friction, right? So that will not contribute to the wear and tear. We're actually trying to prevent that from happening. 50. Which of the following is not an alternative source of energy? The answer would be D. Kerosene. 51. Which of the following is not associated with the use of fossil fuels? A. Erosion. 52. The type of energy found in petrol is C. Chemical energy. 53. The diagram below shows tongues with parts labeled A, B, C, and D. In which of the labeled positions is the effort usually applied? The answer would be A. I'm sorry, B, right? So we'd apply the effort here. That's usually where we would hold the tongue to try and pick up, let's say, if it's a piece of ice or whatever material we're trying to pick up. So at here, at the base, we'll find the load, the fulcrum is to the top here. 54. The lift force of an aircraft depends on, is it the shape of the wings, the size of the wings, the density of the wings, or the color of the wings? The answer would be C, because it has nothing to do with the color of the wings. 55. Which of the following formula is used to calculate the mechanical advantage, or MA, of a machine? The answer is A, the load over the effort. This is a very, 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 very common question that usually comes. So always please try to remember that it's the load over the effort and never the effort over the load. Then we have 56. Which of the following energy conversions best shows the energy changes that occur when a microwave oven is turned on to cook food? We're going from electrical to wave to heat energy, right? Because it's the heat that is necessary for the cooking of the food. Item 57 refers to the diagram below, which shows two balls. We have X and Y. So ball X, after being struck with a cue stick, travels in the direction shown and strikes ball Y. Now they say that ball X stops moving. So, assuming that there are no other forces present after the collision, ball X will, I think that they made an error here because they already said that ball X stopped moving. So, I think what was meant here should be ball Y, right? So let's read it as that. Assuming that there are no other forces present after the collision, ball Y will gain momentum, lose momentum, have constant momentum, or have its momentum increased twofold. So the answer would be C. 58. There are limits to the height and mass of a material which can be transported by a a vehicle. The reason for this is D, to ensure that the center of gravity is not raised beyond safety limits. 59. If you push a book across a desk, friction is the force that A slows it down. And finally, item 60 refers to the diagram below, which represents the passage of air through the engine of a jet plane. So the direction of the plane, or the direction in which the plane is moving, is B, from Y to X. So the air is coming in here, coming out from X, coming out at Y, and it's pushing the plane in that direction. So it's moving from Y to X. So that's the end of 2010. Look out for some more integrated science papers. And once again, all the best in your upcoming exams. I really hope that this video is able to help in some way.